Hello and welcome to my video diary of my attempt to grow giant onions as a complete beginner. My inspiration to this to have a go came after watching Chris Evans's channel, where he passes on his knowledge of growing giant vegetables, and I've followed his advice as much as possible. He was even kind enough to send me some of his giant onion seeds. I'd like to thank him by linking to his channel, but I don't know how to do that yet, but if I can, I will. I'll try and show in as much detail as possible what I've done. So if anyone's watching with the knowledge of this subject and could spot any mistakes I've made or give me any advice, I would be really grateful if you could leave any information in the comments from me. Okay, right, now this pot of seeds, they were potted on the 12th of December 2023. These are some onions I bought from Italy. I'll try and put a picture up later on so you can see the variety. And I planted them using Chris's methods. Now unfortunately I haven't got any video of that because, well, I've only just now thought of doing this video diary. But if you go along to his channel, you'll see, his video, and I followed it as far as possible, as closely as possible even, to what he'd done. The only difference is he recommended Vitax compost. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get any of that down here in Cornwall, so I used, there we go, Blue Diamond, which is the company that owns the nearest garden centre to me down here in Cornwall. Peat-free multi-purpose compost. I then added some Growsure vermiculite and a small amount of Elixir Leek and Onion fertilizer. Now I did sieve all the compost with an 8mm fine sieve, so this is what I've got. This is what I put the seeds in, and this is what I'll be potting them on the first time from the seedlings. Alright, so I don't know what people think of that. Good, bad, indifferent. And how much difference does the compost make regarding the quality, brand? If anybody's got any ideas on that, there again, I'd be grateful if they could leave it in the comments. Right, I think that's that for that bit. Right, well, once the seeds were sown with vermiculite over the top, I put them in a bath of water, let the water soak up through, and then come right up to the vermiculite. And I kept it quite damp, watering from the bottom all the time. Occasionally I put a little bit around the top, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just trying these things. So any advice on that would be grateful. These are, I would say now 6 weeks old, and they're approximately 6 to 9 inches tall. So that's my next question. Have I left them in here too long? Have I left them grow too long? I have noticed a few of the tips starting to go a bit yellow on top. There again, is that a watering issue? Is that a light issue? Because they've been under T5 grow lamps all this time that have been on 24/7. So I think what I'll do now is tip them out the pot and let you have a look at the roots and see what they're looking like, see how you feel about them. Right, so I've tipped them out the pot, and this is what we have got. Roots going around. to my mind, they look a little bit spindly. I don't know. I mean, this is the problem of doing it as a complete novice. I've got no personal knowledge of doing it before to really know what I'm looking at. And have I potted these up as seeds in too deep a pot? I mean, that's, well, with the soil on it, was about probably 5 or 6 inches. I think I did overkill on the depth of the pot to put the seedlings in, but there we go. This is what we've got. Right, the soil, you know, it's damp to the touch, but it's not sodden. And the roots, you know, they have made the way all the way to the bottom, but they, I don't know, they just look a little bit spindly to me. I don't know. Anyway, I'll separate these out now, and we'll go from there. Now, in trying to get these apart, I saw on the internet dunking them in water to help get the compost off the roots and to help separate them if they're in clumps. So I'm using, what's the old dog's bowl, I'm sure you won't mind if I wash it out afterwards. Just dunking them in like that. The water's not stone cold, all right, it's room temperature. So I'm doing that, and then I'll separate them out as well once I've done that. All right, so I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Like I say, I'm trying to show everything I do so that you can sit there shouting at the computer going, don't do that, Pete, whatever you do, don't do that. But if you shout it, write it and let me know. I've got broad shoulders. All right. Right, well, I've separated them out and I've picked out the bigger ones. So here they are. That's what the roots are looking like. What do they look like to you? My only concern is a lot of them have got a bend on them. Some worse than others. Like, sorry, keep still, Pete. That one there, that's got a bend in it. A lot of them have got quite, what I would class as quite significant bends. Is that a problem? Is that the vermiculite on top of the seeds too deep? I don't know. So if anybody's got any help with that, I'd be grateful. Right. There was someone else, I can't think now. I'll remember in a minute. Alright, so there we go. That's what they're looking like. So now, what I'll do now is, there again, on the recommendation of Chris Evans, I'm going to soak them in a, well, this is a saucer, just a plant saucer, like this, and in it is, let's have a look at this, some CX Regeneroot root stimulator, and I've put 1 mil, I mean, I've actually measured out with a little syringe I've got here, 1 mil in that amount of water. On his recommendation, like he says, it can't hurt, and hopefully it'll reduce the transplant shock. Alright, so I'll continue sticking them in there like that, and I'll do that, and after that I'll come back and I'll go to what I'm doing next. Right, so hopefully you can see this. Now I'm going to pot them on. Now this is a 24 cell seed tray. These are, each cell's 5 centimeters by 5.5 deep. There again, is that big enough for the first potting on? Should I go bigger and deeper? Again, any help on that would be brilliant. What I have found, because like I say, Chris sent me some John Alpenton's giant onions that I've grown. So this is the second batch of seeds that I've done sort of to this stage. All right. What I did find with the trays is if I cut them so you can take sections out, because with the other ones I've potted on, I found I've had to put some supports in. Well, if you need to support ones in the middle, you can't get to them. But if you cut the tray, you can take it out. Obviously, you don't put it on top of the plant, and then you can work on the other side without disturbing anything else. So that's one thing I've learned, just as a general useful thing to know. And also, the other thing I found, because the other trays have got plant in them completely full, is if I cut a corner one, I can take that out and makes watering easier. So that's my tip to myself. I just found doing those two things made looking after the onions once they were in these seed cells a lot better, or a lot easier. So right, there we go. And these are actually new, but again, following Chris's advice, everything that I've used, seed tray wise, pot wise, has either been new or cleaned, just cleaned with some Jay's fluid. All right, so that's the other thing I've done. I mean, I even cleaned my dibber that I'm using to put the plant in. So let's pick one out here. That one looks quite nice. That's the size of the bulb. Now I'm figuring on planting, trying to get it just so it sits below the big bit here. All right, there again, look at the length of that. Is that too long? Is that because I've grown them in the seeds in too tall a plant pot? You know, if I grew them in a seed tray, my figuring is they'd only be that deep. So I think that might be a mistake I'm making, but if anybody can confirm that, that'd be brilliant. Anyway, this is fairly dry, this mix. So wazzing a hole like that, teasing the roots in, and I'm trying to get it somewhere in the middle, firmed in. Oh, see, it's falling over. I'm definitely doing something wrong here. Should this bloody compost be wetter? Would that help? Come on, in you go. Be nice. Or should I be supporting them right from this stage? I know a lot of you are probably just shouting at the screen, what are you doing, you idiot? But there we go. We all got to learn. We've got to start somewhere. And shout at me, I don't care. I've got broad shoulders. Right. Anyway, that's what I'm doing with all of these. You don't need to watch it all. We'll come back in a minute. All right. Right, so I finished potting them up. And this is what we got. Some of them look pretty pathetic and falling over. But those three don't look too bad. I'm quite pleased with them. Hopefully they will grow into something worthwhile. I know the purists will probably say, oh Pete, that was the only three worth keeping, you might as well chuck the others away. But that's the other difficult thing as a beginner. You want to keep everything, you want to grow everything. These are looking pretty falling over. I'll probably stake them. I'll do that another day, and I mean, I'll show you what I do, and I'll keep posting these, because it might help somebody, and indeed somebody might come across them and help me, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Watering, there again, from the bottom. And what I'm using is, I've got a 10-litre watering can. It doesn't normally stand on the radiator. And in that I'm putting half a cap, because there again Chris recommended a weak solution, so I don't know what weak solution is, so I'm figuring half a cap in 10 litres, and that's half the rate of what it states on the bottle. So half a cap in 10 litres of water. This is always filled up and left in the room that the onions are, so it's at that temperature. All right, and I'm that keen on keeping records. I even marked the watering can. It holds 3/4 of a litre, and I keep a diary of when I'm watering them. All right, but basically I'm watering them once I see the sort of edges of these go a bit lighter, so I'm keeping them moist and hopefully not too wet. So these now will go up and under the grow lights, and I'll take you up there to have a look, you know, so you can see everything that I'm doing. Right, here they are, up in the grow tent, up in the spare room, just on a table. That's the Italian ones that I've just potted up. Now, these are the second batch of Joe Orthington's, I hope I'm not murdering his name, that Chris sent me. These germinated a lot quicker than the Italian ones, but there again, a lot of them are bent. I've no idea what, and I've had to support them. You know, should they be self-supporting at this stage? You know, any help, gratefully received. Anyway, they're under a Luma 2-foot 4-tube grow light, and I've made my little grow tent and lined it with some the cheapest insulation material they had at Screwfix. Hung it on some chains so I can raise it up and down. The temperature in here is 21.9, and they're happy at a 60% humidity. All right, so that's where they are, and I'll come back to them as they progress on. I'll put all this in a separate playlist, so if you know, as time goes on, if you want to look back or look forward and see what I've done with these and not watch all my other nonsense I get up to, they'll be in their own playlist. All right, date today, I think it's about the 23rd, 24th of January. All right, so I think that's all the information. And well, thanks for watching. I'm sure you've learnt nothing, but I hope somebody who does know something can comment and help me out. There we go. Cheers and gone from Cornwall.